Aloha and welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a hot minute since I've done any videos or anything. I wanted to post a quick video to say I'm alive, a couple quick updates, and I really can't give you any good reasons for the delay. There was a couple medical hiccups along the way, nothing bad, and a family vacation that also interrupted my videos. And the one of concern, Microsoft issues. And when I say Microsoft, I don't mean Flight Simulator, I mean Windows. So you will notice that I don't have two touchscreens side by side. That was what I wanted. That was the previous setup. After a Microsoft Windows update, gone. Couldn't do it anymore. It would not recognize both monitors simultaneously. The touch would never work. Sometimes this image would just go away, or this visual, this won't come up. It wasn't an issue with the connectors, it wasn't cabling. I tried everything. I even swapped out which touchscreen monitors I had because I had some old ones. It was having two touchscreen monitors side by side on my system. And this is an NVIDIA 3080 Ti. So the graphics card is robust enough to easily handle this. It was just something in the last Windows update that messed me up. So in order to kind of compensate for that, I sold two of my touchscreens. I got the 21.5 refurbished fairly cheap, and I resurrected some of my old hardware. You can see here my PropWatch Sim comm panel, radio panel, and autopilot panel. I've used them in the past. I am not a huge fan of PropWatch Sim, and the reason I'm not is the connectors on the back of these. If you watch my old video, and if you ever buy one of these yourself, they're very thin, and at the back the connector's just kind of dangling out there. And in the case of the transponder, which broke, and in the case of I think my autopilot has it too, it's not soldered in on the back. I have soldered the autopilot in myself, but from PropWatch Sim the connector was not soldered in at all. It would just pop off. So if you're going to use them, kind of be wary. You may have to go in and find a way to either solder it yourself or use like hot glue to reinforce that connection. That's what I've done to kind of take a little of the weight of the cable, of the connecting the wire, and then the actual connection itself. So just to hold it up a little so there's strains not there. And of course the Flight Sim Builder GNS 530, which I'm a huge fan of. I love this thing so much. And then we get down to my version of the Bendix King transponder. I'm just a fan of the transponder. I did a video on it a while back. I 3D printed it. I actually designed it myself. I built it myself, and it's one of those things where, to me, it's kind of cool because I didn't watch tutorials. I didn't watch how anyone else did it. I just did it myself. So I'm pretty happy with that transponder again. And then the rest of it's fairly standard stuff. Here you can see just the Honeycomb Bravo, Honeycomb Alpha, custom switch panel over here. Now this switch panel, I've made it so that, previous videos I think I've shown this, I can use this with just about any aircraft. I can use it with the Beechcraft Bonanza, I can use it with the Beechcraft Baron, I can use it with a Cessna, I can use it with a PA-34, a PA-44. I can also use over here, I have a panel behind me as well, a side panel, which is very similar to what the Pipers have. Now down here, which is kind of hard to see, let me move my leg out of the way, I have added rudder trim, aileron trim, cowl flaps, and I have dual fuel selectors as well down here. And you may notice I've got this thing in my hand, and this is a QRF. This is the Piper PA-28-180 Cherokee. It's all the procedures for the aircraft. The reason I actually put money into this one is not just because I'm going to fly it in here, but because I'm going to fly it in real life. So I've started taking private pilot lessons, really happy with that, and which is why I've gone into Air Manager and configured this to be pretty close to the aircraft that I am kind of flying now. And I'm trying to get into the habit of using real procedures, using the simulator as an actual simulator for my nefarious needs. And so far so good, Now I'm only a couple lessons in, but I am really excited about it, really happy. and along those lines, there is one other update that's going to come probably in the next few weeks. Is I am going to pick up the USB to general aviation headset adapter. Because one thing I've learned, I did not think about this before, I did not know this before, really, was the difference in feel in the headsets. I have this here, and this is a great headset, by the way. I'm going to tell you, I got this on eBay. They also had them on Amazon at one point. It's like the TA, it's made by BGR, and it is the model TA82 headset. It's a wireless headset. They're very comfortable. They're not heavy. They've got good battery life on them. I really like these. But when I actually sat in the plane on the first lesson and realized how different the headsets were, it kind of threw me a little, just because, you know, I do all this to try to be realistic, and that was way off. So I've gone out and I've done a few things with that. I'll reach for something as I chat. The other thing, and I thought this one was kind of funny, as I was working in the aircraft with my instructor, the aircraft had a GPS setup that's very similar to the GTN 650. Very, very similar. And he was having me do some stuff. First lesson, he's like, "Hey, let's walk you through how to do things." Well, I kind of already knew, because the Garmin GPS in the aircraft was nearly identical. The touchscreen looked identical. The GUI looked identical. So I knew how to get where I wanted to go. I knew how to look up the frequencies I wanted to look up. It just worked well. And we started talking about it. I said, "Oh, I have this in my flight sim at home." And he goes like, "You have a flight sim?" And I showed him. And it was kind of funny. It was a funny moment. But back to the headsets. So here, what I have is a Bose A10 or the Bose X, same. I found them actually on eBay dirt cheap. I got these for about $170-ish, which is really good. Now these are old, right? These are very old. Bose is now on the A30 set. Then you had the A20 that was out forever. Then you had the A10s. So these are old. They still work great for noise canceling. And what I did was I went online. I got a replacement felt area here, and I got brand new replacement ear pads and the foam on the inside, and I was able to scrub them clean, so they're in pretty good shape. And I will tell you, these feel night and day different from these. Night and day. So I want to get used to this, and part of what I'm going to do is I'm going to crank up the volume in here, and I'm going to get into the habit of using the noise canceling, of going through the motions I would go through in an aircraft. I just want to get used to it. I want it to feel a little more natural for me. I tend to go a little overboard, and if you've ever watched my channel, you probably know that, but that's where I'm headed. And I've also got a pretty decent flight bag set up, and once I actually have some more lessons under my belt, maybe I'll actually go through the flight bag with you. But that's where I've been. That's what I've been doing. It's been really hectic, but super fun, especially getting in a cockpit for real. Being in that left-hand seat and actually making the turns and doing all sorts of stuff, you know, going through the motions that you do in here without thinking about it. It was really, really cool. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm going to use this as more of a learning tool now. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, as always, you know, throw them below. Greatly appreciate everybody who's stuck with me so far. And thanks for watching. You know, stay safe, and as always, happy flying out there. fun.
Good.